everyone. Thank you so much for joining ChatFunnels Account-Based Engagement Summit here. We're so excited to have you on. We will be covering from reach to revenue, 15 ABM use cases in 15 minutes with Rollworks Chief Marketing Officer, Randi Barshack. Randi, I'll let you take it from here.
Sure. Thanks, Katie. Yes, I'm very excited to be here. A little bit nervous because I'm going to attempt something I've never done before. 15 different stories in 15 minutes talking about different ABM strategies. So why am I attempting this craziness rather than focusing on one thing? I want to talk a tiny bit about ABM before we actually officially get started with the countdown clock. So when we talk about ABM, we found that many different people in the industry have different definitions or ideas of what ABM is. And rather than force all organizations to fit into one size, we're big believers in the democratization of ABM, and that ABM, the sophistication of your ABM program, the size, the style, could be very different based on the needs of you as a business. And ABM can be a very unique thing. So the use cases that I'm going to show you today cover a broad range of types of companies, use cases, but there's going to be a sequence there talking about how ABM can help you in reach all the way to revenue and then even to renewals. Now, there are some commonalities, right? So at its core, and the common thread you'll see in all of these, is ABM at its essence is about a centralized target account list that's derived by objective means that both marketing and sales are referencing in their programs, in their data structures, whether that's inbound, outbound, whether that's a marketing automation system, display advertising, gifting, or sales outreach or sales programs, but that it's centralized. So you take away the subjectivity of which accounts are important or not. That's the commonality you'll see in all of these programs. You'll see that common target account list, whether that's a target account list of a couple dozen or many, many tens of thousands. The idea is that it's centralized, objective, and mutually referenced by sales and marketing together in coordinating efforts to turn those prospects into customers. So with that, I am going to start the clock, and I'm going to attempt within 15 minutes here to take you through 15 different use cases. I'll take a deep breath before I go, and here we go. So starting top of funnel, the first thing you need to do is to prioritize, right? Before you even get started, how do you get that target account list? So I'll talk about our company we've partnered with, Trustpilot here. Took a very large list of 10,000 potential target accounts. They've got great market opportunity, but given the size of their company, they really need to be able to prioritize and pinpoint a smaller subset of those accounts. So they're able to use machine learning, our machine learning algorithms, to take that list of 10,000, identify 2,000 that are the highest tier fit with the highest probability of closing, and then even whittle that down further to 500 with the absolute highest probability of closing. So just that focus alone allows them to optimize their marketing investment in alignment with their budget. And by doing that, they were able within a few months to actually reach over 84% of the accounts on that prioritized target account list and see a 53% increase in accounts visiting their website. So there we are, sort of awareness, starting kind of from reach, working our way towards revenue. Next up, I've got PitchBook. So here's what I call bread and butter use case for ABM. PitchBook has, again, fairly large target account list of about 2,000 accounts in their ICP. In 2020, their ICP was changing. So they really had to sort of, as times their business changed, align their efforts around a smaller subset of accounts that they could prioritize. So they used account scoring to identify 300 of the highest probability accounts and created air cover with display ads and aligned that very precisely with SDR outreach. So when you have that alignment, like PitchBook, they were able to get 170% increase in the number of opportunities within just 3 months. I will repeat that, even though I'm short on time. 170% increase in opportunities in 3 months. That's an amazing stat, as well as 220% increase in just those target accounts that were engaging heavily on their website. So again, matter of 3 months, just that alignment is going to get you that kind of lift. All right, further down the funnel, Better Cloud. Love this story because when the director of marketing ops started at Better Cloud, there wasn't even attribution in their demand gen efforts. So they went from no attribution to fully aligned marketing sales within 90 days. Now, what's different here is not only was Better Cloud identifying their key target accounts, but they were also layering on intent signals to further prioritize. So they went fit first, then layered on intent, and then coordinated a mix of all kinds of go-to-market motions, including outbound from their sales team, automated marketing programs coming from their map, and high-touch personalization like gifting, all coordinated. And what they were able to do, again, in 90 days from no attribution, was see a 64% increase in the accounts that went from completely unaware to highly engaged. And they were able to in that 1 quarter, influence 18 full opportunities. And this is not a super large team. All right, next up, another customer I really love. Auditoria is a customer of mine. Nick Ezo is a hero there. He is a marketing team of 1 with some contractors and interns. Here, what they do is they're actually rotating their target account list. So we talk about that centralized objective list. It can change from time to time. So what they do, what Nick's doing at Auditoria, and again, he's a relatively small team, so resources are precious here. And Nick's really got to stay focused. So he aligns the rotation of their target account list with their sales cycle. And he works in 90-day cycles. So out of 15,000 potential target accounts, he's taking between 100, 150, creating air cover, and then coordinating that with sales efforts in those 90-day cycles. So they're constantly refreshing in an automated way. Now, by doing that, they're able to see a 59% increase in target accounts visiting the website. Again, he got this up and running in 5 months, team of 1 with a couple interns and some contractors. And then a 208% increase in target accounts on those lists that he's creating, where they're doubling down on efforts that are highly engaging with the brand. Also to note here, they've got a great stack utilizing not just Salesforce and LinkedIn, but also they're a big HubSpot customer. Okay, so going from sort of top of funnel to middle of funnel, what are some of the keys we see where ABM strategies can work? So our company PayScale here that we're talking about has a product where they're selling to a fairly broad buying committee. And what we've seen with ABM is it's not just making sure that you're targeting the account, but that you're hitting the right personas in the accounts. So PayScale was able to take this knowledge and have specific messaging to multiple personas in the buying committees at their prioritized accounts. And by doing that, they're able to not just drastically increase their website traffic, but increase the website traffic coming from the relevant personas at the relevant accounts. So more is not necessarily better, but better quality is absolutely better. You'll hear a lot of debate about, are leads good, are leads bad? Leads are great if they're qualified, right? So you're getting pre-qualified leads that are coming in because you know what's coming in. Now, the best thing here, possibly one of my favorite stats in this whole presentation, just by doing this, by getting this focus, their PayScale is able to increase the close time by 45%. 45% faster time to close by getting that relevancy and that alignment. And I have another similar stat later on, but I love, love, love that stat. Next up, a little bit further down in the buying process, NS1, another customer we work very closely with. Now, interestingly enough, NS1 really leverages digital ABM strategies so that they can operate ABM at fairly massive scale, but even at scale, they have to have some prioritization in terms of efforts. So they actually had a target account list of about 11,000 accounts. augmented that with 10,000 that Rollworks was able to recommend with our data foundation. But they're using that fit and then intent. So they're looking at the fit and then for prospects exhibiting intent to focus their marketing dollars. So they have inbound and other efforts, but their dollars specifically are focused on those intent exhibiting accounts. And what they're doing is not just looking at intent, but matching the accounts with the stages in Salesforce, so that bi-directional sync with Salesforce, so that the messages that those accounts are receiving are very specific, not just to the intent topics they're engaging in, but to the sales cycle they're at in the buying process. So with that sort of customization and messaging, we're seeing a 3x increase in engaged visitors from those intent exhibiting accounts. And again, more may or may not be better, but more if they're exhibiting intent is definitely better. And a 29% decrease in just CPC because they're getting more relevancy, right? So the overall just efficiency gain there is 29% just in the CPC. How are we doing in time, Katie?
You are doing fantastic. Keep it going. You have, 7 minutes left.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. So next up, we have Snowflake. So once you're engaging people, what can you do further to leverage some ABM strategies? Well, Snowflake here, Snowflake is probably one of the most, if not the most sophisticated ABM program that we've seen. They have a very large team of ABM experts working with Hilary Carpio, who's an ABM guru. But what Snowflake is able to do, because they have such a robust program, they really have a lot of one-to-one campaigns on very focused, high-fit target accounts that are also exhibiting intent at any given time, and sometimes not even exhibiting intent, they're driving the intent. So the ABM managers each have a relatively manageable size of target accounts, and they're running specific campaigns. Specifically here, they're aligning the activities that are driving traffic, whether those are digital or whether those are more kind of hand-to-hand outreach or even gifting. And they're sending those target accounts and the key personas at those accounts to custom landing pages. So the entire process from reach to not quite yet revenue, but reach to getting them highly engaged is very customized. They have at any given time about 2,000 ABM campaigns running. So maybe a little daunting, but remember, we've got Nick at Auditoria, a team of one, or you can have 2,000 campaigns running. But by just having this personalization, they're able to see quarter on quarter, roughly a 75% increase in SDR booked meetings in those accounts being touched by the ABM programs. Some other great results. Again, once you've got them engaged, how do you personalize that experience? Now, next is a company, unfortunately, I can't tell you the name because we're still working on this use case. It's a digital signage company, and it's a pretty straightforward play. So you don't see a lot of text here. But basically what it is once those accounts are engaging, because the target accounts are assigned to sellers, you want to be able to let those sellers know in near real time what's going on. So here, it's simply the uses of, you want to look at spikes in activity by your target accounts and alert the sales team. And what I love here is that you're alerting the sales team in their Salesforce instance or via email. They don't have to log into another system that's owned by marketing. But basically it just says, hey, here's the accounts on your on the target account list that you're responsible for. And we're seeing a spike in activity compared to a baseline. You let them know and they can take action. Now, in this specific case, when that's happening and those accounts have hit the open opportunity stage, this company is quadrupling the amount of air cover these accounts are seeing to, again, increase probability of close and bring down the time to close. And they were able to get all of this up and running in about 4 months' time. And I've got some stats here from Serious Decision on just sales and marketing alignment and the importance. Next up is one of our own examples. I had to throw some drinking our own champagne in here, and it's one I really love. It's another simple play. So I talked about sort of accounts moving through the sales process, but sometimes they ghost you. And we had an issue earlier last year where we looked at accounts where we had been engaging and then suddenly we weren't getting responses. We created what we call Wake the Dead account, but we took from within our target account list, just the tiers 1 and 2, where we felt like spending a little bit of extra budget would be well worth it. We looked at those accounts that had gone dark and we sent a gift. We actually did it over a weekend, a no strings attached. I think it was an Uber Eats gift card, if I remember correctly. We coordinated that with air cover. So, sort of they're, again, being reminded of the value. And then with SDR outreach. Now, this alone, first of all, this program entirely took about 5 hours to set up. It continues to run today, relatively low cost. And in the first quarter that we implemented this, we saw a 10% lift in monthly opportunities just from sort of waking the dead and, sort of nudging them a little. The campaign itself, maybe it was that no strings attached, maybe it was our clever copywriting. We saw about over 41% open rate of those emails. So again, when you're talking to the relevant people and not sort of trying to boil the ocean, much better responses. Really kind of easy, no-brainer. We're happy to share that with the world. We think everyone should be doing it. Okay, next, further down the funnel. Once we've talked about sort of engaging the right accounts, intent exhibiting accounts, but in B2B sales, we often see, complex buying cycles, and we've talked about the key stakeholders. This specifically is a company, Dialpad, that we've worked with. They started expanding into the enterprise market and suddenly realized they had many, many more people in the buying committees than they had traditionally seen. They had over 7 stakeholders of different personas in their cycle. Again, fairly simple play. They had about 50 different sets of ads, and you can't really see here, it's a little bit small, but each of these ads are targeting a different persona in the buying committee: IT, finance, I believe customer service, and I think even sales. So each of the key stakeholders is getting messages specific to them. And this again, same as earlier before, 52% faster time to close, 52%. Now, when they expanded into enterprise, there were concerns that this was now going to be a very lengthy sales cycle. And instead, they were able to accelerate time to close by 52%. I don't think I could love this stat any more. Maybe if it were 55%, I'd love it a little bit more, but that is fantastic. Okay, next is another company. We're still sort of working on the story, a large internet services company. Many of you probably know. And what I love, I am a little bit over time, but I'm going to keep going. I think I'm going to be about 1 minute over. So 15 use cases in, let's say, 17 minutes. Large internet services company uses dynamic tile. So I talked about how you're refreshing that target account list, on an ongoing basis. In this case, this services company they have a free product. So it's great to have lots of customers, but if they're not paying, that can be maybe problematic long-term. So here what they're doing is they're creating target account lists that are changing dynamically based on the accounts that are using the product. And based on the usage, they're changing the messaging, creating air cover in accounts that are using the product heavily, and based on the usage, creating different messages to get those accounts to convert from free to paid. They saw a 3x increase in the opportunity rate for the accounts in those campaigns. Again, focused on getting them from free customers to paid customers. So I love this usage because it doesn't only have to be about brand new acquisition. Along the same lines, another SaaS company is using ABM strategies to both bring in new free users and sign them up, as well as convert those free users to paying customers. So a similar model, it's a freemium model. This was a company that didn't traditionally have a freemium model, but when they introduced their freemiums with the hopes they could expand into the SMB segment. So a little bit opposite of that, focusing, starting to expand into enterprise, this company started to expand into SMB. As a result, they scaled their ABM target account list from about 100 large enterprise accounts to 2,000 broader SMB accounts. And then they were able to focus on those 2,000 accounts as trying to get them to sign up. And they were able to see a 200% increase year on year in the sign up volume from those target accounts for sign up. And then increase the lifetime value of the accounts that were converting from free to paid by about 98%. And that was by calculating the lifetime value of the top 15 to 20% of accounts. So we've converted people. We've increased the speed of the conversion, and now we've got customers. So I've got, I believe, 2 more stories here for customers. One is Okta. Love this story as well. It is a story that took place in March of 2020. Okta was 21 days before their massive user event when everything shut down due to COVID. They had to switch on a dime to turn a huge physical event at the Moscone Center to a digital event in less than 3 weeks. So they used ABM strategies to look at who their key customers were, some prospects, but mostly customers, and create custom landing pages and custom digital display ads to drive the registrations to the virtual event and then get them to attend the virtual event. A few of the strategies they used here was they had 32 accounts, high value accounts they identified that had custom landing pages with custom messaging as well as recommendations of specific sessions they might attend at the event. And then they had custom ads going out to those accounts. And then the other ads were one to few. So they had digital display that were focused more on segments and industries. As a result, they saw a 316% increase in registration from the in-person event. So this is making lemons out of lemonade or lemonade out of lemon, sorry, for sure. They had 25,000 unique visitors to the event and 191% increase in visitors from those target accounts. So again, more is better, but when you get more from the targeted accounts, it's really great. So I love that this, they pulled out ABM out of the hat to save that event in less than 3 weeks. And then finally, back to Snowflake, just another great usage of how Snowflake uses their ABM strategies to drive renewal and upsell by looking at their customer usage of product. They look at what parts of the product the customers aren't using. They coordinate with their product marketing, their product teams, and they're developing very specific messaging and multi-touch campaigns based on product usage or lack thereof. They time that with renewal cycles. So they're not only looking at product usage, but they're looking at where customers are in their renewal cycle. And by doing that, they're able to increase by 50% the new opportunity rate within existing customers using ABM. And just a reminder here, market cap of Snowflake, when I checked this morning, was over $80 billion. Not $80.69, 80 billion. I forgot the B there. So that is from reach to revenue to renewal and retention. Not quite 15 minutes, but 15 stories in about 17 minutes. And thank you all so much for coming. It was really fun.
That was great, Randi. Thank you so much.